MACC members, welcome to MACC's brand new series, Powerful Voices Lasting Impact, for this year's Black History Month. My name is Mya Corbin, MACC's Communications Specialist, and I'll be speaking with Black professionals in our network all February. We'll discuss topics such as the importance of representation, creating space and tolerance for a more diverse workplace, and learning from our history to move towards a better future. MACC is committed to ongoing learning as we work collectively to disrupt oppressive systems and address systemic racism and the ways they impact our member organizations, our human services sector, and our communities. MACC believes that everyone has the right to well-being, and that's why it's so important that we hear from everyone in our network. Please continue to tune into Powerful Voices Lasting Impact for this Black History Month with more Black professionals in the Minnesota nonprofit workforce. Today I'm joined by Malik Rucker, the Executive Director of V3 Sports. Today we'll discuss the topic of learning from our history to move towards a better future. Welcome, Malik. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Maya. I'm honored to be here this morning. Excited to get into it.
Yeah, awesome. So let's jump right in. So briefly, can you share a little about your journey and your personal experiences as you moved through various roles and grown in your career as a Black professional?
Of course, my journey starts in North Minneapolis, where I was born and raised, and I'm gonna take you all the way back to North Minneapolis because it's important in my journey. Growing up, the first sport I played was at the hospitality house, running track, uh, just off of Plymouth Avenue, down the street from where the V3 Center currently is. All while going to Harvest Prep and going to after school at Oak Park Neighborhood Center, who is a community center under Pillsbury United. And, utilizing those and all of the community spaces in North Minneapolis is really who I'm a product of all of these great individuals who have poured into the North Minneapolis community. And, I ended up going to Cooper High School and playing college football at the University of Iowa in Western Michigan, which I consider really my first job of, being away from home and dedicating a lot of hours and time and commitment to the sport of football at the Division I level. And then when I got done with college, I had no idea what to do. I graduated with a sport management degree, and I just my dream was to go to the NFL. And when that didn't happen, I had to figure out what was next. And for me, and it ended up just getting on Indeed and just really just applying to anything that popped up. And I ended up getting an interview with the Big Brothers Big Sisters Twin Cities, doing some program coordination, and I got an interview, and when I got to the interview, they said, "You might not be good for this, but I think you'll be good for that." And I started my professional career at Big Brothers Big Sisters. I learned pretty early on that wasn't going to be the long term place for me. It was a great organization, lots of good people, but it just didn't fit my style and what I saw for my future. So, what I did was needed to get back in sports. Fell in love with sport business and ended up networking the sport industry like crazy and met everybody that I could possibly meet in the sport industry and in Minnesota and in Texas. And, during that time, I ended up learning about V3 Sports. Um, but I also built a relationship with the Minnesota Twins. And, not long after I started working with the Minnesota Twins doing community relations and felt really good about professional sports. No day was the same. I was being able to make impact at higher rates and um, in an expedited time, being able to utilize the sport and the branding of the Twins and the players. Um, and as I said, I also was introduced to the Minnesota Twins to V3 Sports at that time. Erica Finger, our founder, was really picking the idea up of a potential facility,
Yeah.
and not long after that, I became the first employee ever of V3 Sports, almost 5 years ago. And
Mm.
my job initially was to uh, empower our community and
Mm.
empower our community through the bill. We had this grand ideas, beautiful opportunity, but it wouldn't be successful without community voice being in it from our architects to community members having input on what the spaces look like. I
Hmm.
did that for a couple of years, and then I became the executive director in November of 2023, and been that ever since.
Yeah.
Outside of outside of work, I sit on the board at Neon and Raise the Bar. I was a founding member of the Champions Council for Minnesota Sports and Events, and I'm on the Fund for Safe Communities with the Minneapolis Foundation. So I have some extracurriculars as well where I'm volunteering in community. And during that time, I also got an MBA from the University of North Texas. So
Yeah.
there's my journey.
That's awesome. I mean, it makes so much sense, like how you got to be the ED of V3 Sports. It's a great facility. So it's really cool to hear the history of how it really came to be in your journey. So that's dope.
Thank you.
So moving on to our the future, not to get too introspective, but
Hmm.
in what ways, like, how do you think our sector could do better at welcoming Black identities into leadership positions? You are an executive director, so in what
Hmm.
ways has the sector overlooked or not supported Black identities, and how could better support lead to a better future for our communities?
I believe that nonprofits have been an outlet for Black leaders, where there's there's more there has, in my opinion, been more opportunity than in the corporate world for Black leaders to really spread their wings and do their things. Where I see the opportunity for growth is with the board of directors of the organizations. As new leaders come in, um, especially if it's a organization that's been around a while, do things to make sure that your Black leaders are feeling supported, and that could be all different things, whether it be introducing them to the donors that have been donating to the organization for years, to throwing a party for them, to help them kick off relationships, to being really engaged in that transition. Transition is hard. The Black leaders are faced with lots of challenges, and I see opportunity at the board level to actually really step up and be a part of that transition. Um, so I would say it really starts there. Not only the hiring committee, but the entire board, and just making sure that the leaders have a network of individuals that they can count on and call on when things get rough. And um, you know, hopefully, also the Black leader is going into an organization that is stable and healthy, um, because that's also where I see sometimes Black leaders get into positions where the organization isn't at isn't in a healthy state, and the leader has to figure out a way to stabilize the organization, which is really really hard work.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that's a really important point that you're bringing up. Having the board really be the ones to fuel that kind of, to create more of that space within an organization to receive a Black leader. I feel like that's so important to hear, especially with how things are changing in
Yeah.
in both the sector and just overall the world.
But unfortunately, that's all the time we have. Be sure to listen in on the series so you don't miss any of our insightful Black leaders and professionals in our sector. All of these short podcasts will be available on our social media, Podbean, and our website, so stay tuned. Do something that makes you feel joy today, and happy Black History Month. See ya.